Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome to patch 3.4 and welcome to the release of Gwen. Gwen is a really cool AP Baron lane champion. She's basically an assassin, really cool. It's kind of one of our only really AP champions that we have to really play in the Baron lane, unless you think of like Gwen, Akali, and maybe Gragas. So another AP champion is great for Wild Rift. She's a really cool champion. She has these huge massive scissors that she can throw out, deal a bunch of damage, dash around, and she could become immune as well. But first, let's take a look at her abilities. 1000 cuts is her passive. Attack steal bonus magic damage equal to percentage of the target's maximum health, and it also heals Gwen for a percentage of the damage this ability deals to champions. So it's only to champions. And this passive deals a maximum of 32 magic damage against monsters. So you can see when you auto attack, you're basically going to have a blue number next to your auto attack. This is your AP or magic damage that you'll be dealing with Gwen. So you can see the little tiny AP number, little tiny blue number is the damage that you'll be getting from 1000 cuts. Pretty simple passive, right? This is where things get interesting. Snip Snip is her first ability. You have a passive which gains 1 stack per attack, which you can hit up to 4 maximum stacks. And active snips her scissors twice, snipping an extra time for each stack consumed. And each snip deals magic damage, with the final snip dealing a huge massive amount of magic damage. The center of each strike deals true damage instead and applies 1000 cuts, which is her passive, so dealing even more magic damage and also healing Gwen with her first ability. So you can see here with the stacks underneath Gwen's mana bar, you'll see there's little blue marks purple marks every single time. These purple marks underneath is how many times you have your first ability stacks. So I have it stacked 4 times at the moment. So when I use my first ability, you can see it snips a lot of times. You can use this ability once as well. You can see it snips once, and then there's the delay, and then you snip twice. So the interesting thing is that it doesn't matter how many times you stack your passive, the duration of the first ability is going to be the exact same. So the first is exactly the same, and then you stack up to 4 times. It's the exact same duration. You basically have extra snips in between which will deal extra damage. So that's really important to know, is that it's not really a bad thing to stack it up. You know, you can attack minions. Say for example this is a minion, you can just attack minions, stack it up to 4 times, walk up, and then use it as a little poke ability towards enemy champions. That's a cool little thing to note there. For the second ability, we have Hallowed Mist. Summons a Hallowed Mist, making Gwen untargetable to enemies outside the zone whilst inside, and Gwen gains armor and magic resist inside the mist. The most important part here is Gwen is untargetable to enemies outside the zone. So you need to kind of make sure that you use this ability correctly to make sure the enemy is outside the zone, but you're still in the zone, so you still gain the extra armor and magic resist. And the mist will move to Gwen the first time she attempts to leave it. So you can see the second ability, it has a pretty big radius as well. You can see the radius here. Now the important part is that when you know someone is outside of your second ability, you will see a little mark there. You'll see a little mark where the target dummies are, but also the interesting thing is that they will still see it even if you're hidden inside the bush. So say for example, I'm hidden inside the bush, you can see that everyone can see the little mark. So if you're hiding in a bush, make sure you don't use your second ability, because you can give away your position. But as you can see, when you use your second ability, if you try and move outside of it, you can see that it moves Gwen as well. You can see, and then the second time you leave, it will deactivate. So you want to make sure you use it and then kind of stay on the edge. And you can also use your third ability to gain the extra range as well. You can see, you know, the little target dummy here is just outside the range. So making sure that you make full use of the Hallowed Mist is really important. But like I said, you can use the third ability as well to dash, and you can see it goes a little bit further with the second ability. Making sure the enemy's outside and you're inside the mist is the most important thing with that ability. And the cool thing as well is with the Hallowed Mist, it actually reduces damage from major minions as well, you know, like dragons and also Rift Herald. So say if I try and take this Rift Herald, for example, try and take it very quickly. If I use my second ability, if I stand outside of it, I'm going to be completely immune. You can see that he basically missed an ability there. Because he's standing outside and I'm inside, he's going to be completely immune. So this is really good when you're taking Baron, or also taking Barons or even Dragons and Rift Herald. Really cool against these big major objectives. The third ability, we have Skip and Slash. Gwen dashes and enhances her attacks for the next 4 seconds. Enhanced attack gain attack speed, magic damage, and also range. That's why I said her third ability works really well with her second ability, because you can get that extra range to make sure that you don't step too close to the outskirts of your second ability, so then it moves to where the enemy champion is. The first enhanced attack to hit an enemy refunds 50% of the ability's cooldown. So all it is, you can see my auto attack range now. It's not very high. I can just hold it here. You can see my attack range. If I use my third ability, you can see my attack range is basically doubled, and you can get some really cool attack speed. Like, look how much the extra attack speed is. Use the first ability afterwards. I mean, this is full build Gwen, but you can see the effectiveness of the third ability. Really cool ability. Also, cool thing as well is you can dash over walls with this ability. You can dash over walls here. I can dash over this wall. You can dash over many walls with Gwen's third ability. And it's also an auto attack reset as well. So if I auto attack E and then auto attack, it's a little auto attack reset. You can see here, so auto E auto, a little bit of an auto attack reset, so you can bear that in mind to get a little bit of extra damage. Now the last ability is her ultimate. Now there's a really cool thing in Wild Rift that they've changed over from PC League of Legends with her ultimate. So we got Needlework. The first cast, you hurl a needle that deals magic damage, slows enemies but for a few seconds, and applies 1000 cuts to all enemies hit. Needlework can be recast 2 additional times. The second cast fires 3 needles, and the third cast fires 5 needles. Now the thing is, in PC League of Legends there was 2 things that you had to do. One of them was you had to hit needles before. I think it was like when Gwen first released, you had to hit the needles to be able to reactivate it, and I think now you have to auto attack in between using your needles, but you don't need to do this in Wild Rift. I can just completely miss my needles, not auto attack in between. You can see I can use it as many times as I want. This is absolutely huge. So even if you misplay a little bit and you miss your needles, you can still dash in, you can still use your needles to deal even more damage. You can see here, if you use it a second time and then use it a third time, it will deal extra damage each time you use your ultimate. So cool thing is, you mainly want to use your ultimate at the start of your combo to slow down enemies, and then you can dash in, use your second ability, and then you can just keep stacking your needlework or your ultimate to be able to get the 5 stacks when you're in melee range, to pretty much guarantee that you're always going to hit it. Now let's talk about combos. There's not really too much crazy combos. There's a little bit of a combo that I explained earlier where you can auto attack 3 times, and then you can, you know, combo your first ability and your third ability. So you QE, and it basically, you basically gonna miss the first part of the first ability, but it hits the second and the last part. So, you know, auto attack a few times, and I can QE, or you can also Q flash to extend the range of the first ability. You can see there's a little bit of extra damage at the end, so that's really cool. So yeah, QE is the other one as well, so you can just Q into E and you can dash a little bit further forward. This is really cool to be able to use when you're trading in the laning phase. So say there's a champion behind this minion, I can W, QE, get it a little bit extended and deal that little bit of extra damage, and then you can auto attack afterwards as well. Keep auto attacking straight away. Oh, Riftailed spawn. Hey Riftailed, how you doing? Now your main combo, your all-in combo, is the big one. What you want to do is you want to use your ultimate. You then want to dash in with your third ability so you get the extra range and attack speed. Auto attack 4 times, Q R again, Q, and then R. So I'll quickly show you how to do it. So you R, E N, auto attack 4 times, use your R, Q again, and then by the time your R's back up, you can do that again. I'll do it on 0. So I get rid of 0 second cooldown so you can see it all in action with 0 second cooldown. So you want to R, use your third ability, auto attack 4 times, R, Q, keep auto attacking, and then use your third part of your ultimate. This makes the full use out of your needlework, the full use out of your passive with the first ability, and full use out of your third ability, because you're going to be using your third ability before you stack your auto attacks 4 times to use your first ability. That's pretty much it with Gwen. In terms of skill order, I think it's pretty self-explanatory for the skill order for Gwen. At level 1, you want to go for your first ability. Your first ability is your most important thing. You can trade really well during the laning phase. You can also use this in combo with your second ability, third ability, sorry, that you will be getting at level 2. Then you want to just get all your abilities available. You max your first ability because this is going to be one of your main damage sources for Gwen. Also making sure that you level up your ultimate when possible. And then your second ability you want to max is your third ability, because your second ability doesn't really do too much. You know, all it is just like a little mist that helps you gain some extra armor and magic resist. But with Gwen, you want to get as the most damage possible. So you max your first ability, your third ability, and then your second ability. Right, let's head into the build with Gwen. Now, there's one really important item which just got released in patch 3.4, which is going to be huge for Gwen, and that is Riftmaker. Riftmaker is absolutely huge for Gwen. I like how they've done all this thing as well. They've done this thing where they've added some new items and everything as well. So you have your main core build here, but then you have like some extra items you can have here. So I put some situational items here as well that you can maybe go for. It's really, really cool. Really, really like it. So for the build, first item, Riftmaker, brand new item to Wild Rift, works perfect for Gwen. You get a little bit maximum health, you get a lot of ability power and ability haste, and now you have a new thing called Omnivamp. Now Omnivamp works on magic damage, physical damage, and also true damage. We already have a lot of true damage with Gwen. You know, the first ability deals true damage, and also Riftmaker deals true damage. You have the Void Corruption passive. When in combat with champions, you gain 1 stack of corruption every 1 second. Each stack increases the damage you deal up to 3%, and by 3% up to 3 stacks. So it's a total of 9%. And at maximum stacks, the additional damage that you get from Riftmaker will turn into true damage. This is great. Gwen likes to dash in, she likes to auto attack, she likes to use her abilities as much as possible, and she always likes to stay in team fights because she's going to be completely immune when she uses her second ability. She can keep auto attacking, and she's going to turn some of her damage into true damage, and that Omnivamp is going to work with the true damage, which is absolutely insane. Another great item is Nash's Tooth. Now, I'm not too sure if Nash's Tooth is going to be a core item or not. I'll probably test this, and I will be playing a lot of games on stream tomorrow to test this out. But Nash's Tooth can work really well for Gwen because she works great for attack speed. She's going to get a lot more ability power and a lot more ability haste, and also her attacks deal 15% bonus and magic damage plus 15% of your ability power. So you're going to be building a lot of ability power with this build. Like I said, it might be a Nash's 2 second item, or we might be going just into a full AP route with maybe not a lot of attack speed, because you gain attack speed with your third ability. For the boots, I think most of the time you're going to go for Ionian boots. Unfortunately, Gluttonous Grease doesn't give you Omnivamp. It still only gives you physical vamp and magical vamp. So in my opinion, it's not really worth it because you're not going to get the true damage vamp. So I think the best is probably going to be Ionian boots, or you can go for plated steel caps or mercury treads. In terms of boots upgrades, stasis is probably going to be your best option. I don't really think there's anything else that you can really go for here. No, I think stasis is just going to be your best option because you're going to dash in quite a lot with Gwen. So I think stasis with your defensive boots are great. Another new item into Wild Rift, which I think is going to work very, very well for Gwen, is Cosmic Drive. You get ability power and a lot of ability haste. You get movement speed, which is great for Gwen because she's basically a melee champion, so she likes to move around a lot. But a big thing is the passive. Spell Weaving passive. Active abilities and empowered attacks grant you 30 ability haste plus 70% of the ability haste that you already have as movement speed. So you're going to have ability haste from Riftmaker, you're going to have ability haste from Nash's Tooth. So this will work well with Cosmic Drive because you also get ability haste with Cosmic Drive. So you're going to be getting this insane amount of burst movement speed with Cosmic Drive. And after dealing damage, you have to deal damage to a champion, of course. This movement speed decays over 2 seconds. Now, the important thing is each source has an individual 1 second cooldown from triggering spell weavers. You can't just keep spamming abilities over and over again. And also only haste from items contributes to spell weaving. So you don't get it if you benefit from like Hunter Genius, for example, which is the other rune. So great item, a bunch of movement speed because you already have a lot of ability haste with this build. And I think it's going to be a great third item for Gwen. Then we have Death Cap. Received a little bit of a nerf this patch, but I still think Death Cap is going to be a great item. It might be built more into the late game now than the early game because the build path is kind of a bit awkward. You have to build Needlessly Large Rod and Blasting Cone, and now you have to wait 1,100 gold to complete Death Cap. So I think it's going to be a bit more of a late game item, but a lot of ability power and increases your overall ability power as well, which will just increase the damage overall for Gwen. And then your last item. It's kind of flexible. I think Morellonomicon is probably going to be the way to go because there's just so much healing in the game right now. You get a little bit of maximum health, ability power. You get the magic penetration as well, which I think will help you a little bit. But there are some other items that you can go for as well. I got Void Staff here. If you're against a lot of champions that are going to be building a lot of magic resist, then Void Staff will be very good. Banshee's Veil as well, if you want a little bit of extra shield. Actually, I don't think you probably won't need Banshee's Veil. The other one is Crystalline Reflector, which is really good if you're against a heavy AD comp. I think Crystalline Reflector is going to be great because it will block damage and also reflect damage back to enemy champions. Other than that, I don't think there's really anything else. You know, Lich Bane could maybe work because you're spamming abilities a lot and you're going to keep auto attacking, so that could be really good. Maybe Infinity Orb will be a really strong item, because now Infinity Orb got pretty much a buff. I would say you don't get the health anymore, but you get 85 ability power, you get the movement speed, you get the magic penetration, and the build is still pretty good as well. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else. Maybe Leandris might be a cool item. I don't know. There's a lot of builds that we have to test with Gwen, but I think this is probably your main build that you want to go for. For the runes, Conqueror actually received a change this patch. Conqueror now grants you Omnivamp, which will increase your true damage, your magic damage, and your physical damage. This works insane for Gwen. Lethal Tempo can also be pretty good to give you extra attack speed, but I think now that Conqueror gives you Omnivamp, you're going to be healing off true damage. You're also going to get Omnivamp from Rift Maker, so not only are you going to be dealing a lot of damage, you're also going to be healing up a lot. So I think this is great. You also gain Adaptive Force damage as well, which is 3 to 9 AP for 6 seconds. So that's going to be stacking up every single time you auto attack and use your abilities. It works great. It's fantastic. I think for the next rune, I think Giant Slayer is probably going to be your best option. You can maybe go for some other runes. Maybe if you want Champion in the early game, Gathering Storm can be good, because Gathering Storm is pretty good on AP champions, not really good on AD champions. Other than that, not really anything else, to be honest with you. I think it's just either Giant Slayer, Champion, or Gathering Storm. One of these 3 runes are probably going to be your option. Second Wind is really good because Gwen is a melee champion. That means that Gwen is going to get double the effectiveness of the Second Wind passive, which is going to be great. Which Second Wind, you gain 5 health over 5 seconds, and after taking damage from an enemy champion, you regenerate missing health over the next 5 seconds, and it is doubled if you're a melee champion. So great for Gwen. You can use your combo where you auto attack a few times, dash in, use your first ability, and then once you take a little bit of damage, you can back off, heal up a little bit, and then go back in again, which I think is great. Great. I put Gwen and great in the same. Wow, it's great. Cool. Sweet Tooth as your last rune. I don't really know what other rune you can go, to be honest. I think Sweet Tooth is probably your best option, because Gwen can be great during the laning phase, and Sweet Tooth will help you get that increased healing, also give you that little bit of extra gold. I don't think there's anything really else you can go for. You can maybe go for Demolish if you feel comfortable with Demolish. Maybe you feel like you're going to get a huge advantage in the laning phase. Other than that, I think Sweet Tooth is going to be your best option. And then we have Flash and Ignite. Now, there is a thing on PC League where they don't run Flash at all. This is because you have a dash, and also you have your second ability, which allows you to become immune. This can work. You can maybe go for like Ignite Barrier and give it a try. I might give it a try myself. But most of the time they run TP and Ignite on PC League of Legends because it works as a summoner spell. So I don't think it'll work too well on Wild Rift. But yeah, that is everything for Gwen. Hopefully you enjoyed this little guide of Gwen. I will be releasing a full gameplay video of Gwen as well. I will be streaming pretty much the whole day tomorrow. I got new champions to try. I got new items to try, ADC changes, support changes. There's so much to play tomorrow. So I'm really excited to just go to sleep, wake up tomorrow morning, and just stream all day Wild Rift. So hopefully I see you all on the stream. The link will be down in the description. And as always, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next Wild video. Peace.